So this isn't the type of video that I would normally film, but I felt like I needed to today. So I'm going to be honest with you guys, and I'm going to share some things that I wouldn't normally share. This is a very vulnerable side of myself. I'm actually going to be sharing my video diary with you guys. But here's the thing, if you're in a season right now where you're like, I don't know how I can handle this anymore, I feel like I'm being absolutely crushed and I don't see a way out, well, I'm sharing this because really for me, there is no more powerful testimony than being able to hear but also see God doing that in someone else's life. And that's what he's done for me. So I'm going to share with you guys something that I filmed nearly 2 years ago. This was a video I had filmed when I had just moved to Miami. I had walked through a breakup. I had ended a very long-term relationship. I was brokenhearted and I was in a new city. I didn't know people. I was on the other side of the world from my family. And on paper, everything looked incredible, right? So I had the beautiful apartment that I could afford by myself. And I had these incredible opportunities. And I had a new business that was launching and all of the things to be grateful for. But in all of that, I still felt just overwhelmed. And I felt really, like, to a degree, helpless. I had no vision and I felt anxiety all the time. Like, I would wake up and I would be anxious. I'm just going to get into the video. It's very personal for me to share. I do not share myself crying on the internet, but really I want you to see like how much God can do in a year, let alone 2, and really how in every season and situation he's still there even though we don't see him working. And here's really my goal of this video is this. It can be a hard season. It can be a horrible, heavy season, but it is not a bad life. And there's a difference between the two. So let's get into the video and then I'm going to be sharing with you what I learned from all of that.
It's March 4th, 2023. Every little thing is heavy and feels like, I don't know. Here's what I know, that I can't seem to snap out of this, and I'm trying so hard to be faithful. Everything feels like a question. I feel so alone. Good friends, but I feel really lonely. And I just feel like I'm tired. I'm tired in my soul. I'm tired in my spirit. I don't have a vision. I don't know what decision to make about scaling Lumia or dissolving it. I don't have a team. I don't have a vision for like what I want to do with my career. I'm struggling still, not really with the breakup, but just like the learning to be alone and then trying to pursue God and to know what is his will and what is not. And I feel like his voice was so audible to me a year ago and now I don't feel like I hear it. I don't know, he speaks in different ways and I'm so tired. And I can't wait to watch this back and laugh and be like, Robbi, you of little faith, like you're so little. Because I know that's what's going to happen. I really, really, really believe that. It just, there's nothing worse than losing the battle in your own mind. I don't know what it comes from. I don't know if it's like a lack of faith. Look where I am right now. Why am I sad? Literally today, YouTube messaged and they want to buy Lumia and wholesale. And I'm like, Rob, these are things you prayed for. These are things you prayed for. Just don't know. I anchor myself with not being faithful enough. But I'm trying so hard to be. And I just don't see a vision. I don't see anything clear at all. Nothing. I don't know.
Now, that girl that you just saw, she was trying really hard, and it's a little overwhelming for me to even watch that video because I can see the emotion in it, I can feel it like to the depths of my soul. And you know, there's something about journaling, like yes, you can write down the words that you're feeling, but the emotions that you're feeling, when you can see them, it hits you on such a different level. So there are certain times when I will film like video diaries, never with the intention of posting them or sharing them, but really just like being able to look back and be like, wow, like look how much has changed in that time. Like, that is incredible. So I want to share with you guys some of the things that I've learned since then. Obviously you heard me talk about being in this beautiful place but still feeling anxious, and I was kind of like, I don't want to feel ungrateful, because like this is the life, like, some people pray for. Like, I don't misunderstand me. I know when I understand, I'm grateful for my privilege, but what I'm explaining to you is the emotion that I was feeling. So you can be in a good place and you can still feel broken. The two can coexist. Grief and joy and gratefulness, like, they can still exist in the same sphere, and you can still be in a lonely, isolated place. And that's exactly where it was. And I felt like I was drowning, but that doesn't make you weak if you feel those things. If you're in a good place and you still feel like you don't have a purpose or a vision, or you're feeling alone, right? Like, that does not make you weak. It just makes you human. And if you pretend like you're fine, it actually robs you of some of the healing that God wants to do. I would actually brag about it for years. I was like, my superpower is resiliency. I said that, like, I've said that so many times, because I'm like, some of the things that I've walked through that I didn't think I could survive, I'm like, I have to get hard. I have to get tough. I need to survive. If I let myself fall to my knees and feel this, like, I'm never going to get up again. Like, whenever I found out about the affair that my husband was having, I felt, it's like I had to get to a point where I'm like, no, nothing can hurt me. Sticks and stones will break my bones, but nails will never hurt me. But that's just not the reality. Like, we have to let ourselves actually feel and grieve and heal. And unless you acknowledge those things, then you actually can't move forward and like gain authority over them. So that was first a really big lesson. So that was a huge one. The next lesson was that hard seasons aren't all punishment. Sometimes that pain is preparing you for a purpose, right? That pressure is for a purpose. And most people fold under pressure, right? It's like kind of the analogy of you go to the gym and it's going to be really uncomfortable to get strong. For you to be strong, you need to put in the work, and it is going to hurt. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to have to get up early, probably. You're going to have to lift heavy things. You're going to have to go through recovery to get better, to get stronger. And it's kind of that same thing when you're going through a hard season. And normally when you're going through something uncomfortable, it's leading you to some form of growth, right? There's a Bible verse. It's actually my favorite verse. I believe that it's in James 1:2-3. And it goes like this. It says, "Count it all joy, my brothers, when you are faced with trials of many kinds, for the testing of your faith produces perseverance." Now, there's another verse in Romans that I love the way they align, that they don't go together, but I like the messaging. But it says this, it says, "Perseverance produces character, and character produces hope." How do you go from like being joyful when something bad happens to you? You're in a season where you just want to give up. Like, how do you be joyful? That verse says, "Count it all joy." But like, what does that mean? Like, how do you be joyful, right? So for me in that situation, like, I really had to like surrender and be like, all right, God, like, I trust you. Like, I don't see the moving pieces, all the pieces that you're putting together, but I know that you're doing it. That you don't need the whole plan. You just need to take one single step. Truthfully, control is actually an illusion. Like, we don't have much control of anything at all. And clarity can be really, really hard to come by, because sometimes what we think we understand, we maybe don't understand. We don't see the full picture. We don't know or understand why God has closed the door or opened a different door. We don't see time like that. God sees a full timeline. We see like one little blip of the present. He sees the future and the past, and he understands what it is that he's got planned for us if we actually step into it. But for me, and sometimes in a moment, you're not going to have clarity. You're not going to have control. But what you can have is courage to just last one more day and just push one more day. And by the way, some of the plans that I've made for myself, I was married when I was 20. My dream was always to own dental practices all over my state, Queensland of Australia, and have all these businesses. And it's funny, it's like you make these plans like you could never believe. I'm like, you could never believe. I'm like, are you telling me now I'm a content creator in Miami with no dental practices, not even practicing dentistry, and not married to that man? That's incredible. Like, you can't make these things up. It's like we can plan, but it's like really like we don't have that much control over a lot of the things that actually affect us. Is really how we react. It's really like these things are going to happen to us, but how do we actually react? This one sounds a little cliche, but truly, like, if you're in the season, you will understand me to the core. Sometimes we aren't buried, we're planted. And when you're buried, it's like, it's dark, it's heavy, the soil it's crushing you down, but that's not where it ends. You grow roots and you sprout and you grow into something more beautiful and something stronger and something with a real purpose. But the truth is, you can't grow unless you have a good root system. And in these moments where you're like, I don't know if I can make it, all you have to do is have that little bit of courage is going to produce that perseverance, and that's going to be a root work. And here's the thing, when you're buried, you're actually sprouting roots. Like, that's what a seed does. For a seed to come out and produce fruit and to be beautiful, it has to have roots, right? And the root is what gives it the structure. If it doesn't have a root work, it's going to fall over, or it's going to wither in the sun. It needs that root work. And by the way, guys, people will not clap for the root work because that's personal. That's you. That's what you do behind the closed doors. That's when you argue it out with God. That's when you talk to your therapist. That's when you actually do real work and you decide, you know what, I'm going to be better. I'm going to be better. Even that if that is just my attitude for today, even if that is just me getting up and going for a walk, even if that is me believing a dream and coming out of agreement with the lies that I've taken on over my life. And don't get me wrong, even though I said people don't clap for the root work, they definitely clap when they see the fruit, right? Like when you see the fruit of someone's lives, when someone's business takes off, when someone succeeds or blows up on social media or gets an award or an accolade, like people will flock to that. But there was so much root work that went into that. It's like someone training for the Olympics. There is so much work that goes before you win a medal. But like, that's not where everyone's clapping. It's when you get the reward, right? So that's the fruit. So don't be discouraged by doing the root work. It's hard and it's heavy and it's alone, but it's giving you a root system that will sustain you and give you growth for years to come. This one is quitting doesn't always scream at you. Sometimes it just whispers, and that's what discouragement does. It doesn't always have a dramatic exit where it's like slamming the door and walking out and like it quits. Like sometimes it's just subtle. Sometimes it's just this encouragement that just whispers at you. It nags at you and you're like, I stopped caring. I'm over it. You numb yourself. But here's the thing, it's like numbness is not peace. It's a warning sign, right? And in Proverbs 23, it says, guard your heart. Really, for me, for a long time, I felt numb, not peace. And there is a difference, and being able to figure out the difference, I mean, you can feel it, because numbness leads to anxiety. It leads to lack of vision and lack of purpose, and peace gives you all the opposite of those things. And again, for my hyper independent girls, this is a hard one, and that is surrender isn't weakness, it's leverage. So when something wasn't working, I used to force it. I was like, oh, no, I'll just work more hours, or I'll make this happen, like I have to. But that got me nowhere but burnt out and exhausted. And surrender really is, it's not giving up, but it's actually being like, all right, God, I trust you. I surrender, I lay it down at your feet, and you say, this is your turn. And for me, that's where the miracles started happening. And this one makes me laugh, but it is, God's dream for you is bigger than your Pinterest board. So the plans that he has for you are better than the ones you have for yourself. Like, have you seen that little meme of like Jesus holding the teddy bear or the roses behind his back? And for me, it's like, that really is like, it is what it is. Like when you lay down something, like I laid down the most precious thing in my life and I surrendered it to God. And I was like, all right, God, like it's yours. And it was replaced with something that was so beautiful and so deep and so great that I can't even articulate it, you know? Next one is, your breakdown might be the setup. So as much as we romanticize moments like resilience, as I talked about, like I'm so strong, I can do this by myself, there is something about admitting our weakness, crying on the bathroom floor and being like, all right, God, like you tell me when I'm weak that you are strong, right? So what does that actually mean? Maybe that means that those weak moments are actually a turning point, and that truly for me, I felt that I had nothing to hope for, and like I didn't understand any of the pieces. It was those moments like on the floor when I'm like, I feel like I couldn't get much lower, but God is like, you're rebuilding on me. Like you're rebuilding from a solid place, leaning on me. Like there's no safer place to be than that. If he is the rock and you feel like you've hit rock bottom, like truly there is no better place to be. And I would say this, you are not forgotten, you're marked. You're not invisible, you're not behind, you're not late. There's a verse in Isaiah that says, you are engraved on the palm of my hand. So remember that. Remember, breakthrough can come and it will come, but it also comes with surrender, and it comes with understanding that, all right, like, am I trying to do this in my own strength, or am I actually going to lay this down? Because truly there is no other way to actually get through a season in a healthy way than to surrender it. There isn't, because it's going to lead to some form of just like anxiety or hurt or something that you're going to carry on the inside of you, and it's going to be a scar that it's not going to heal unless you treat it properly. Right? We're gonna have scars always. Scars are signs that we went through something and that we healed. But often, like when we go through these things and we don't do it the right way, we don't actually heal. Like what happens to a scar that doesn't heal? And it turns into a wound. And by the way, guys, it's pretty cool to see the way God has moved in the last couple of years for me, and it's better than I could have imagined, and it's more than I deserve. About a month after I had filmed that video, I ended up meeting the man that I actually married earlier this year. Lumiere has done very well. I ended up actually getting another deal with YouTube, where I am now working with their creators with YouTube shop. It's been pretty exciting. It's really been a blessing. On top of that, like, I've launched another business. I've done a lot. I've went through a season where I was very isolated. I hadn't dated anybody for over a year. I hadn't gone out and done all the things that I did last time I had gone through a breakup, but I was just still, and I just spent time actually healing and working through these things and yelling it out with God and being like, why would you bring me here to this, like, this land, this beautiful land where I feel like I'm trapped in a golden cage and I don't know where I'm going? But here's the thing, it's like God does have a plan, and it's better than ours if we actually trust him. So my encouragement to you, if you're my little sister or my little brother and you're sitting here with me right now, I would just say joy will come in the morning. Just give it one more day, and little wins are still big wins, right? Like, I'm not saying, like, you know, go numb yourself with TV or with alcohol or with weed and all the things that I've also done, right? I would say it's like, it's actually real surrender, right? It's real surrender, and actually just asking God, like, God, if you're real, what do you have for me? What do you have for me? And that's what I did, and he met me in that moment. So this is my long, messy testimony. And you know what? I was a little bit nervous to post it because it is vulnerable and this is different content. But at the end of the day, I can post beautiful, created content, and it'll, you know, probably go viral if I'm walking on a treadmill. But I want to actually talk to you guys about real things that actually I'm walking through. And there's an internet full of internet gurus telling you how to make money, how to feel about it, how to do all these things. And I'm like, I am not an expert by any means, but what I am is I'm an ordinary girl. I've been saved by an extraordinary grace, and God has given me more than I could ever deserve. And the reason that I'm so bold about speaking about him is because the work that he's done in my life is incredible. Like, if you saw me 2 years ago, the anxiety, the literal anxiety over things that, like, I had no control over, and the way he showed up and all that. So I love you guys. Wherever you are right now, know that you are not behind. He is making a way, and you are never alone. I love you.